What's faster, the pickaxe or the edit map? These are the sorts of myths we will solve today. Starting at number 5. Can sound make you a better editor? Yes, well, actually no, because it's been proven that editing without any sound can actually make you a faster editor. Now, how does this work, you're asking? Well, basically, what people have found out in studies is that when playing with a controller, when you actually hear the button pressing, that is when you choose to make your next move. Therefore, when it comes to combination of editing, such as pressing your left stick, confirming, and selecting, then what happens is playing with sound can actually interfere with your lag. So, by minimizing all sounds and removing it, what you'll then do is actually use your muscle memory instead of any other sound. So it can make you faster at editing, which could in theory boost your editing speed. But then you've got the problem if you're playing competitive, how do you hear anybody and it's useless? Or maybe when you're practicing in creative, try turning off your sound and practicing your editing speed and getting faster at just your muscle memory rather than the button press. But when it comes to online, switch all your sounds back on and you'll be a faster editor. But not as fast as the number 4 spot. Do training maps actually help your editing speed? Now this is a tricky question, yes, but only actually the glitched training map. What you were going to do is become a faster editor up close with millions of these little walls next to each other. Then when you come back to online and play in public matches, it's going to feel like a breeze to edit any wall. So in conclusion for number 4, training maps do help, but only the glitched ones, and here are some codes. Those codes aren't as good as the number 3 spot. This next myth is, does input delay actually impact your editing? Now this has been a struggle for a long time on console players and controllers, because the older consoles tend to actually have more input delay. And what actually is input delay? Well, input delay is basically the split gap between you pressing a button and it actually happening in game. Why does this matter and does it affect you, this myth? Well, yes, it does actually affect your editing speed, because if I press B to edit and my input delay is really bad, then it's going to take me a few seconds before I can edit. Whereas somebody on PC who's got instant input delay, because PCs are just far superior, then it means that they're going to be able to actually edit before you can even decide to edit. It's kind of complicated, but yes, basically it does affect it. And some ways to actually reduce it if you do struggle with this is basically by plugging your controller into your Xbox or PS4 hard wiring, just simply by using a cable like this. Or if you don't fancy plugging it in, you can just sit closer to your console, because the data between your controller and console doesn't have to travel as far. Coming in at the number 2 spot, does having a Scuff or an Elite controller make you better at editing? Let me break this down for you. A Scuff or a paddled controller tends to have these extra buttons on the back. Now, for anybody that doesn't know this, what it does is it basically just replicates the buttons on the front of the controller to the back. That when gaming, you can just press them with ease, keeping your fingers on the analog. But in conclusion, does it make you faster at editing? Well, yes and no. You could argue that you could bind the back paddles to edit binds so that you can press them faster and more conveniently. In reality, there is no difference between pressing a button on the front of the controller and the back. It's just about convenience. Now, if you factor in convenience to your editing, then yes, your editing is probably going to be way more reliable if you have a Scuff or an Elite controller. But no, it does not make you faster at editing, because it's just the same button you press. So if you're looking to increase your editing speed, potentially you could buy one, but they are on the pricey side. So I would just recommend learning claw, which is just when you wrap your finger around like this so you can keep your finger on the analog stick and press it at the same time. Coming in at the number 1 spot, the famous question, does the pickaxe or the build map affect your editing speed? Now the question this whole video has been about is which one is faster and which one's more convenient to use or whatever. Now this myth was from a long time ago, where people would decide if it was better to use a pickaxe or a building map to edit better. The key bonuses to using the pickaxe was that basically when editing up a floor and a pyramid, a lot of people used to struggle and would edit the floor but then edit the floor again when trying to edit the pyramid, which is why a pickaxe fixed it, because you wouldn't have your map out for a floor, which would then basically it doesn't matter. I know you're not listening and I'm sure it doesn't matter to you. Basically the pickaxe was just more convenient for staying more reliable, I guess, when it comes to editing, meaning you would hit more edits in a row. Whereas the build map was actually a bit unreliable, even though it was more convenient to keep it out, you could sometimes edit the wrong thing. Now with the addition of Epic Games adding in the disable pre-edit option, you can find this in your settings. And what this actually meant is it kind of rendered out this question entirely, because the whole reason people used to use the pickaxe was because they would actually avoid disabling the pre-edit option. But since Epic added a setting into the game, it really doesn't matter anymore. I hope you have enjoyed this video. Please comment down below if you like this Mythbusters videos, and only ever subscribe if you've seen my videos twice. Other than that, click this video up here on screen, guys. Click it.